Prisoners of war, our POWs, and those missing in action, our MIAs. About 400,000 veterans usually war through across Washington, D.C. on their motorcycles as a tribute to American war heroes. We may not have 400,000 motorcycles in our tribute to our POW MIAs, but we do have representation. Nationwide, there are 1,681 still missing in Southeast Asia. In Massachusetts, there are 39 still listed as missing. Here is our tribute to our POW MIAs. As promised, the ceremony will begin at 11 a.m. on 11/11/11. Scribed time for this dedication has arrived. It is at 11 a.m. on 11/11/11. First and foremost, to all our veterans out there, happy Veterans Day. Now let's ask God to bless this dedication, this monument, and all of us here. We'll have an invocation now by Vietnam veteran Peter Schotanus.
Let's pray. Oh Lord, I pray this morning as a veteran and a human being. For I am one of those who came back from Vietnam, and now I am sharing the proud task of remembering my brothers and sisters who have fallen and who are memorialized in this land. Oh God, how does one summarize the valor and pain and eventual detachment of a generation young and well-intentioned Americans who fought and gave their lifeblood to fight a war that has yielded little more than bitter fruit? Was their courage less valor of their sacrifice less sacred than those who gave and have gone on before? On this Veterans Day, O Lord, I pray for our dead and missing in Vietnam, the souls who went on beyond the borders of self-interest and who continue to cry out for more than a stone-cold recognition. Their memory demands an honest acceptance that a man who follows his convictions from a clear sense of duty and love for his people represents the highest good a nation can offer, be he friend or foe. Those, O God, were our biggest and best, marked by a cynical and clever, but ever remembered by you. O God, Vietnam remains as it should a matter of moral conviction for all Americans. That suffering land has made dust of our innocence and caused us rightly to question our national intent. O Lord, lift the veil on this tragedy. Help us to work through the war, but never at the cost of refusing our fallen brothers the love and dignity they deserve. Grant us the right and ever peaceful rest. Father, we ask you to bless this ceremony. We thank you, Lord, that we can have this ceremony, that we can remember all the veterans in the Vietnam era. We ask your blessing on it in Jesus' name. Amen.
Now we'll have the presentation of the colors. Presenting the colors this morning are Vietnam veterans Ron Massey and John Pemberton. Ronnie and John will pass the colors on to Vietnam-era veteran Marie Campbell and Vietnam veteran Walter Janton. Gentlemen. Gentlemen, post the colors. We'll now have our national anthem by Gigi Zepp.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Two years ago, a group of Vietnam veterans got together with a wish to honor all Vietnam-era veterans from the town of Northbridge. The day has come to honor these veterans. Here to unveil the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Honor Roll are members of the Blackstone Valley Veterans Association and the Vietnam Memorial Committee. Gentlemen from the Memorial Committee, if you would go up to the memorial site. Gentlemen, go ahead. On May 31st, 1967, PFC Brian K. McGaugh, PFC Joseph E. Fitzgerald, Rifleman. Sergeant John A. Jakovac, Ammo Bearer. Corporal Charles G. Rogerson and Spec 4 Carl D. Flowers were members of a long-range reconnaissance patrol, or LRPS, deployed in Quang Ngai Province, South Vietnam. The LRP unit was inserted to move to the base of a hill 310 and to check out an area along a hedgerow where several Viet Cong had been seen and fired upon by gunships earlier that day. Then at night, the patrol was to move to the top of Hill 310 to establish an observation point. Early that afternoon, a report was received that the patrol had established a position and reported everything was normal. At 20:30 hours, the patrol reported that they were going to proceed to the top of the hill to establish the observation point as briefed. Radio contact with the patrol was lost after that, as the patrol failed to make a scheduled report at 21:45 hours. On the morning of June 1, search elements began sweeping the area. During the search, bodies of Rogerson and Flowers were discovered in fresh graves. Searches conducted from June 2 through July 12 proved unsuccessful in finding the remains of the other 3 soldiers. Some 30 years after the disappearance of soldiers Fitzgerald, McGarr, and Jakovac, their remains were found in Quang Ngai Province, South Vietnam. All 5 of these American heroes are now home. Staff Sergeant Joseph P. Fitzgerald, the only Northbridge casualty from the Vietnam War, is home and will be honored. To unveil the fallen soldier memorial are the sisters of Staff Sergeant Fitzgerald, Joanne and Judy. Accompanying Joanne and Judy is one of Joe's closest friends, also Vietnam veteran, Ron Valiant. Now we'll have greetings from the town of Northbridge by the Chairman of the Board of Selectmen, Mr. Tom Muir.
Good morning. Thank you for being part of this long-awaited and honorable day and recognizing 416 town of Northbridge Vietnam-era veterans. On behalf of the Board of Selectmen, it is an honor to stand here before you, recognizing you and your families at this newly erected Vietnam Veterans Memorial. Many years ago, many of you traveled to a small Southeast Asian country called Vietnam, not knowing whether you would see your families again. All but one, Staff Sergeant Joe Fitzgerald, returned, but many came home either physically or emotionally wounded. This memorial serves as a reminder, as does the World War II and Korean War memorials which stand behind me, that freedom is not free, and that dedication to country will never be forgotten. Before fellow Selectman Charlie Ampagumian reads the Town of Northbridge proclamation, I would like to thank the Memorial Committee in their efforts and dedication in bringing this day forward and making this memorial a true reality. Thank you, and have a great day.
To the Memorial Committee, thank you for a well done. Veterans of the town of Northbridge, proclamation proclaimed by the town of Northbridge. Whereas in 1965, the United States of America began activity participating in the Vietnam War with Operation Rolling Thunder, and continued until 1973 when ceasefire agreements between the United States and the North Vietnam government were signed, with at least Americans leaving Saigon in 1975. And whereas American forces in the hundreds of thousands were called to active duty, including the brave young men and women of Northbridge.
And whereas Joseph E. Fitzgerald, when 18 years of age, enlisted in the United States Army in 1966, and within a short time was sent to Vietnam, where on May 31st, 1967, he and 4 soldiers on patrol were ambushed and all died. Staff Sergeant Fitzgerald died in the service of his country at the young age of 19, for which he was posthumously awarded the Combat Infantry Badge, Bronze Star, Purple Heart, Vietnamese Cross of Gallantry, Vietnam Service Medal, Vietnam Campaign Medal, Army Good Conduct Medal, and the National Defense Medal. And whereas, be it resolved that the town of Northbridge and the Board of Selectmen of the town of Northbridge and all those who reside within its boundaries do hereby recognize and pay tribute to Staff Sergeant Joseph E. Fitzgerald and all Vietnam War heroes for their bravery, their steadfast loyalty to the United States of America, and express our deepest and heartfelt sympathies to their families on their tragic losses, with the belief that these brave heroes did not die in vain, and that they symbolize the American spirit of giving up your life for your country. And be it further resolved that we honor Joseph E. Fitzgerald and all Vietnam heroes today, November 11th, 2011, with the memorial in honor of their heroism, which will never be forgotten. Chairman of the Board of Selectmen, Thomas J. Melia. Vice Chairman of the Board of Selectmen, Daniel J. Nolan. Selectman James R. Mazik. Selectman James J. Athanas. Town Manager Theodore D. Kozak, and myself, Charles Ampagumian.
Thanks, gentlemen. And now representing the Massachusetts Senate, Senator Richard Moore.
As we gather today and gaze with profound admiration and solemn pride upon this remarkable tribute, we thank those who conceived of this memorial and those who made it possible. And in a larger sense, we pause in profound appreciation of those who this memorial honors, the veterans of the Vietnam War, especially those from Northbridge and the Blackstone Valley. In the moving words of a poem entitled "The Wall," written after visiting the Vietnam Memorial Wall in Washington, Catherine Ann McNeil wrote, "The men who fought, the men who died, their names for all to see, their lives so brief, fallen short, a page in history. We can't forget what they had done so many years ago, sacrifices they have made, the bravery they showed." This magnificent monument here at Memorial Square in Northbridge will serve as a constant reminder for those of us living in the Blackstone Valley now and in future years of the extraordinary bravery, exemplary service, and supreme sacrifice of so many young Americans during the Vietnam War. May it forever be a place of healing for those affected by one of the most divisive wars in our nation's history, especially for those veterans who came home from the war feeling unappreciated and unwelcome. This memorial finally welcomes our Vietnam veterans home and invites the community to this sacred place to show our collective gratitude. May it forever be a place of respect for those who lost their lives in Vietnam or who later died prematurely from physical or hidden wounds of war. This memorial reminds us that we can never forget the veterans of any war, and we must, in Lincoln's eternal words, honor him who shall have borne the battle. May it forever be a place of remembrance for those who even today remain missing in the jungles and rice paddies of Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos, or wherever they may have fallen, leaving in the corner of some foreign field a plot of land that is forever America. It is such a place that Staff Sergeant Joe Fitzgerald, a brave son of Northbridge, consecrated with his life in 1967. For some 30 years, he was one of those considered missing in action until modern science helped to identify his remains. Many of us here today can recall the moving tribute in 1997 when we were able to bring him home here to Northbridge. He's earned a special place among those we honor in this memorial. It is for Joe Fitzgerald and the others listed on this monument that we're here today. Clearly, the people of Northbridge, and indeed all Americans, can't forget what they had done so many years ago, the sacrifices that they made and the bravery they showed. May God bless all of our Vietnam veterans, and may God bless the United States of America. And it's my privilege to present to Bill Audette, on behalf of the Massachusetts Senate, a citation honoring the town of Northbridge for erecting this great tribute to the veterans of Vietnam. Bill?
Thank you, Senator. Today we have students from the class of 2014 and 2017 Northbridge High School. They're here to honor all Vietnam veterans from town. Accompanying the students is Sherry Travers. Sherry was their teacher and guided the students when they decided to raise money for the Vietnam Memorial. Speaking on their behalf will be Emma Fitzgerald, class of 2014. Accompanying Emma is Nathan Petraska, also from the class of 2014, and Emily Shaw from the class of 2017.
Who did I miss? Who did I name? Did I name everybody though? Yep. Okay, there you go.
Good morning. My classmate Nate could not be here today. Congratulations to—
Speak into the
Oh, sorry. Congratulations to all the veterans, families, and friends for making this Vietnam Memorial a reality this morning. Your dedication and sacrifice deserve recognition that is long overdue. 2 years ago, I was part of an 8th grade class who was hoping to make a difference. We wanted to start a wave of kindness that would make its way around the world. When Ms. Travers told us about the Northbridge Vietnam Memorial, we were thrilled to be able to help a cause so close. We went into this wanting to make a difference. We want to help honor our loved ones. We made it fun for our classmates. It was an intense competition, which homeroom could raise the most. By the time collection day rolled around, there were buckets upon buckets of change. I remember being late to Mr. Gauthier's class every day for a week because my classmates and I were counting out change. Mrs. Kamateris' 5th grade class wound up winning the competition. They won a delicious lunch that we prepared. Our class won the feeling of joy, knowing that we did exactly what we had set out to do. For me, the joy of knowing ran a bit more personal. No member of my living family ever knew my Uncle Joe. When I was really little, all I knew about him was that he had his own bridge. Since Miss Travers told me that Uncle Joe was being specially honored in this memorial, I've learned a lot about him. My uncle, Joseph E. Fitzgerald, was a member of the 25th Infantry and the 3rd Brigade. He was MIA on May 31st, 1967. His remains were returned February 1997. And although my father never met him or even saw a picture of him until recently, they wore the same type of hat with the brim pinned up on the same side. My classmates and I have gained a greater respect and understanding for our veterans through this experience. Meeting and talking with them at the lunch we served made us realize that veterans gave us so much more than we could ever give back. Thank you to those men and women who have fought for my rights. Thank you to the people like my Uncle Joe who died so I could do something as simple as stand before you today. Thank you.
Thank you, girls. At this time, we're going to have a laying of the wreath. I would ask that the Memorial Committee, members of the Blackstone Valley Veterans Association, and any other veteran that's present, would you please take the wreath from the front of the memorial and bring it to the front. And now, singing God Bless America, Shannon Wheeler.
While the storm clouds gather far across the sea, let us swear allegiance to a land that's free. Let us all be grateful for a land so fair, as we raise our voices in a solemn prayer. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night, from the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans wide with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans wide with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Thank you, Shannon. Now we're going to have a few words from Ken Trejanowski, Northbridge Veterans Services Director for the town of Northbridge and 3 other towns, and also a member of the Vietnam Memorial Committee.
When I called the National Weather Service this week and asked them to hold back the rain, I didn't expect them to replace it with the wind, but I'd rather have the wind, I guess. Over 2 years ago, there was a renewed interest in creating a fitting monument dedicated to the veterans of the Vietnam era of this town. Earlier that year, I was involved with the creation of a new monument in Uxbridge. I think it was after their successful fundraising that Bill Audette and I discussed it was time to renew an earlier effort to erect the monument. We felt it was now or never. We met with members of the Blackstone Valley Veterans Association and formed a committee of dedicated members. In March of 2010, after consulting with the trustees of Soldiers Memorial, we announced our intentions in a press release and met in bi-weekly meetings ever since. The project gained momentum as word got around. We held many fundraisers, we made many decisions, and had many worries. We knew we were doing our fundraising during one of the worst financial times in our history, but this was also a period where people appreciate the sacrifices that veterans have made for their country. The public put aside their financial difficulties and supported the project. We've been fortunate also to have the support of many talented people. While we, the committee, met and discussed what needed to be done, it was the many donors and the tradesmen that really made this a reality. Please take time to look in your program booklet and read their names. We are forever grateful to them. This memorial has been a long time coming. This dedication comes 50 years after the Vietnam War began in 1961. We're extremely proud of our accomplishment. The people of Northbridge can be proud of this beautiful site. We hope you visit it often. On behalf of the committee, I would like to thank you all for sharing this historic event. To the Vietnam veterans, I'd like to say, welcome home. Thank you.
And now, representing the Massachusetts House of Representatives, Representative George Peterson.
Thank you, Bill. First, I want to apologize for being late, but we've had several other dedications this morning. I just came from Grafton, where they are dedicating the World War II monument. And today we're here to dedicate this wonderful monument to the Vietnam veterans. As a son of a veteran, as a veteran myself, and as a father now of a son who is serving in the Navy, it is extremely heartwarming to see the size of this crowd here today. Extremely heartwarming. Tom Brokaw called this World War II and that generation the greatest generation. But I would submit to you that in every generation we have a great group of men and women. Those are our veterans that leave their families, their homes, their jobs to be able to protect the freedoms that we have today, to what we celebrate today. For it is not without those veterans and their sacrifice, and some the ultimate sacrifice, that we would not be here today. To be able to remember them and remember their families. It started in the Revolutionary War when they picked up their muskets and left their fields and families to today in Afghanistan and Iraq. This Veterans Day, the 11th hour, the 11th day, the 11th month, was to remember the signing of the armistice, the end of World War I, which was supposed to be the war that ended all war. Unfortunately, that will never be the case. Today, we thank the veterans for their sacrifices, from the veterans that served before, that are serving now, and that will serve in the future. To all of you, thank you.
Thank you, George. Okay, before I make my closing comments, which I'm sure there's a bunch of people saying, Bill, hurry up. Yeah, I can hear you laughing. It's very important that we recognize some people. I think you've all seen how absolutely beautiful this site is and this monument. Well, it wouldn't have taken place unless certain people came forward. And when I think of community, this is what community is all about. It's about people coming forward and doing the right thing for the right cause. So I'm going to name some people, and I want those people to stand up. They're seated behind me, if they're here. Mr. Neil Mitchell. Mr. Nick Janae of Janae Landscaping and his crew of landscapers. Mr. Peter Barbadora. Mr. Chet Kladensky of CWI Crane. Is Dennis here? Dennis Latour? Is Dennis here? No? Richard? Peter, was Andrew with you? Okay. Richard LaPierre. Richard wanted to stay with his family. Richard's over there waving to us. Thank you so much, Richard. And Mr. Bob Garrigan of Bob's Tree Service. Is James Cook here today? Is Jim here? Okay. James Cook, he works for a company, or he owns a company, I'm not sure, American Alarm Communications. James came down with a bunch of his employees last week, and they cleaned this entire site. They raked and they moused, they did everything. They just wanted to do something for the community, and we thought this would be a great thing for them to do. So if they're not here, I want to thank them. And also Mr. Ed Tonry for donating the chairs today for today's event. We've thanked about everybody we can, and I think Kenny mentioned the people that have donated you know, the nickels and dimes when we stood in front of Walmart and the little ones come up and threw their coins in the collection bucket. Those are the people that we really need to thank. Those that helped us start it out. The high school kids raised about $800, our first large donation. And there has been some very large donations too. But in our eyes, this is all equal. Whether it be nickels and dimes or the big check, just giving alone in our eyes was perfect. We want to thank them all from the bottom of our hearts. You helped build this beautiful memorial. What can I say about my committee, the Vietnam Memorial Committee? Ken, Neil, Tom, Carl, Bob, Ron, Joanne, Dave, Greg, thank you. You guys made this a success. To our wives, let me tell you something. For the last year and a half, they've put up with a lot of grief from us. I heard my wife say to somebody earlier, she's walking along, geez, can I have my husband back now? So I want to thank you publicly, hon, for everything you did and all the support. And I love you very much. You have finally given honor to these men and women. You honor all Vietnam era veterans. You have given all Vietnam era veterans the satisfaction in knowing that theirs was indeed an honorable cause. I need to thank you personally, the committee. You gave me the strength and encouragement to see this project through, and I will never forget your efforts and dedication on behalf of the Vietnam veteran. Thank you all for attending today. Thanks to everyone seated behind me and everybody that's participated to my right, the color guards, the fire, the police, the Marine Corps League, the VFW from Uxbridge, everybody that's participated today. Thank you so, so much. We hope today's ceremony will fall in place with every monument dedication that has ever taken place in our town. I know I stand on hallowed ground. This memorial behind me contains the names of those men and women heroes from World War II and Korea. Across the square are monuments to our Civil War heroes and our World War I heroes. I can only hope that this new memorial allows our Vietnam veteran men and women a sense that today they fall into place with every veteran that has ever served their country from the town of Northbridge. And now it's time for me to speak a little bit to my Vietnam veterans. First of all, let's just remember that this monument is not only for those names that are on there. The names represent those men and women that either enlisted or drafted from the town of Northbridge during the Vietnam War era. That monument is for all Vietnam veterans, and it says so on the center monolith. The town thanks all of you. So remember that. This is not just for a certain few. It's for all Vietnam veterans. To our Vietnam era veterans, you served your country and your community with dignity and pride. For those of us that served in country, you are our backbone, our support. I have heard so many Vietnam era veterans say to me that they are not our equal. That is, those of us that served in the Nam. How wrong you are. No, you may not have served in the Nam, but because of you, those of us that did serve in Nam were able to do our jobs. This dedication today is for you as well as those who may have served in country. To my brother and sister Vietnam veterans, it has been tradition that whenever a Vietnam veteran confronts another Vietnam veteran, he says, "Welcome home." So today I say to all of my brother and sister Vietnam veterans, welcome home. We all remember the Nam. We remember Charlie, sea rats. Let me tell you what sea rats were. Sea rats were canned meals for use in the field. I see some of you laughing out there. Each usually consisted of a can of some basic course, whatever it was that we opened. A can of fruit, a packet of some type of dessert, a packet of powdered cocoa, sugar, powdered cream, coffee, a small pack of cigarettes, 2 pieces of chewing gum, and toilet paper. That's what was in, that was our sea rats. And we all remember pound cake. If you're in Nam, you remember the pound cake and the sea rats. Everybody wanted that. We remember boonies, the DMZ, friendly fire, grunt, M14, M16, Quad 50s, rice paddies, hooch, the NVA, the Tet Offensive, Viet Cong, Diddy Mao, Dinky Dow, Bu Ku, Mama San, Papa San, Number One, Short Timer, the world. We remember the heat. We remember elephant grass, the monsoons, the smell of diesel fuel, the sound of a Huey, and Spooky, and Puff the Magic Dragon. We remember the new guy, the short timer, and those distinctive smells of the local Ville and the Tet Offensive. We remember Saigon, Da Nang, Phu Bai, Ton Son Nhut, Quang Tri, Khe Sanh, An Hoa, Liberty Bridge, Red China Sea, Dong Ha, the Mekong Delta, Dodge City, Freedom Hill, Hill 10, Hill 65, fire support bases, Geo Lin, Highway 1. We remember Bien Hoa, Chu Lai, the rock pile in China Beach. But mostly, we remember that freedom bird and our trip back to the world. For those of us that have been in the Nam, there are no words to describe what our tour of duty might have been like. Each individual soldier, Marine, sailor, or airman, Coast Guardsman knows what the Nam was like. Many have visible wounds to show that they were injured by the enemy, and many have those invisible wounds that haunt too many in-country Vietnam vets. I could go on about what an in-country Nam vet is and has gone through, but everything that has been said and can be said about Vietnam has already been said. When I hear the word closure, I can't imagine how that would pertain to any in-country Vietnam vet. Healing is a word I understand. I believe that this memorial will be a small healing to those Nam vets. The sense that it's been such a very long time, but that this memorial will, in a small sense, give us some of that healing we've been looking for. I can honestly say that I looked for that healing. On June 8th, 1972, in Trang Bang, a small village in Vietnam, South Vietnamese planes mistakenly dropped napalm on a Buddhist pagoda in the area where the North Vietnamese were infiltrating. While running for safety with other children, Kim Phuc, age 9, was severely burned by napalm. Most of us remember that Pulitzer Prize winning photo of the little girl running down the street naked with her skin burning off of her body. 3 years ago, I contacted that young girl, now a woman. I felt a connection to Kim and what the Vietnam War had done to so many Vietnam veterans, as well as the people of Vietnam. I told her that I was sorry for what had happened to her and added that I hope she had peace in her life. Kim answered by saying, "God bless your heart. I just want you to pray for me that I have enough strength every day so I could bear the pain and my family also. Thank God for a miracle in my life," and she signed it, "God bless Kim." In closing, let me quote what President Ronald Reagan said at the Tomb of the Unknowns in Arlington Cemetery regarding the Vietnam War. President Reagan said, "We write no last chapters, we close no books, we put away no final memories." And this was pertaining to the Vietnam War. Color Guard Captain, prepare to salute our fallen. memorial. Never forget those that have never come home or missing in action. May God bless all of our men and women in service of our country, and may God bless the United States of America. Thank you all for coming.